out here at my friend Bill's place. He said, hey, come by. Guess what? I got another truck. You know Bill, he's a truck guy. He just can't quit the habit. Here he goes again. Bill and I have done a ton of projects together. I could see a cycle, like he's improving with every one. Each project comes from a better starting point. He usually manages to get his hands on some interesting stuff, and this truck's no different. Wow. It's even got that old truck smell. That's a unique rust pattern. Usually it's down in here. Usually you see all this gone. It says 61,000 miles on it. I might just believe that. Look at that, never hit, never painted, never known nothing. In a quest to live my life by the true metaphors of the universe, I will not judge a book by its cover. But I will give it a thorough once-over and then cast my judgment. This is like, yeah, barn find potential. Yeah, and in the rear, it's more of the same. Just good, wholesome truck. In this day and age, to walk up on a vehicle that is in the unmolested, unchanged status, it's pretty unique. Hello, sir.
Mr. Roussel, my favorite fabricator.
Wait, you mean there's others?
No, I just have you. That's all I need.
Okay, cool. This is quite a charmer, huh?
Well,
talk about a barn find.
One family owned
Huh.
since '62.
Wow.
A friend of mine found it, and I went to look at it and just had to have it.
Yeah, I could see why. I mean, it's in great shape.
They started messing with the top and didn't prime it, didn't do anything, and of course,
So they actually did cut that open.
I guess.
Okay, because I was like, this doesn't add up. It doesn't look like your typical rust. Seeing the rust damage on this, it's really impossible to know what's going on under the surface. The openings in this one are curious to me. Anybody that knows rust knows that this is just the tip of the iceberg.
Everything seems to work. 3-speed with an overdrive.
Nice.
Most people looked at the roof and said, boy, that's bad. I looked at the roof and said, where's Ian?
You know a guy with a welder, don't you?
Yeah.
Remember that old commercial, Mikey Likes It? Well, this is sort of like that, but it's Ian Can Fix It. It's never a dull day. There is something to be said, like the time machine scenario, right? Because
Yeah.
it's a real deal 62 Ford.
Yeah. I don't know, it just stole my heart when I saw it. I liked everything about it, and so here we are.
Yeah, in stock form, these trucks are great. I had a 64. It was a Mercury, it was from Canada.
Oh,
It was the unibody style, but I mean, just had the V8, had all the stock stuff, and it just drove great. I'm feeling the Survivor vibes on this thing, definitely. I mean, there's something to be said for like retaining the actual, showroom feel, just rolling down the road in a bit of a time capsule. Plus, I know Bill, and sometimes, in fact, most times, it's better to ease him into custom action.
interesting, they call this a custom cab.
It's a full custom kit.
Now, I don't know what that means.
When we're done with it, it's going to be a custom cab.
Yeah, it needs a little Roussel. I like the drip rail. If you could keep that, I'd really.
Yeah, I mean, I got some ideas already about that roof skin, but the primary factor is to get in there and stop that rust on the interior panels, because that's starting to get pretty chunky.
I'm always excited when you come to work on my projects. I never know exactly where you're going.
That makes two of us. One of my favorite things about visiting with Bill is he's always got a rotating stock, and it would not be a trip to Bill's without a quick tour around the neighborhood. What's going on with that?
Well, the panel trucks, 46 Chevrolets, both of them.
Wow.
Real projects.
Huh.
I mean,
Need everything.
everything.
Okay.
There's a lot of potential there.
No doubt. It
That's
just,
for sure.
as you say, it's literally strapped together.
Yeah.
Fine piece of machinery. There's something about being a car guy where when the opportunity presents itself, how could you say no?
That's a 1930 Pontiac. It's all there. It's got wooden spoke wheels.
Oh, cool. to hot rod this kind of like doesn't make sense.
Yeah, yeah.
Potential for the museum parade car.
Yeah.
And what the heck is this thing? Now you're talking my language.
One of the guys that works here part-time, Danny, is building that.
Even got a motor on it. I mean, nothing says outlaw like a motorcycle with no license plates. Let's run it. I got one word, man, chingon. Yeah, I mean, these are definite long-term potential, but let's stick to the order at hand.
I agree.
I'll get some ideas together on that unit down there, and we'll just keep thinking about these.
I like it.
Yeah. There's a few different ways about going forward on this particular project. Looking back through my mental Rolodex, I remember a friend of mine has something that just might work.
It's a 62 F100 four-wheel drive. It originally belonged to a good friend of mine that I was a sailor with. And we used to drive this thing out in the desert, boondocking, yank the engine out, and I've pretty much been sitting on it ever since.
Every truck's got a story, man. I love the bumper. I love the roll bar. Super cool. That's what we're looking for, 100%. Look at that, even comes with extra windshield wiper. We're in business.
I guess I should have done some pruning, huh?
Door hinges, the door jambs are all perfect. Look at that. And that's the driver's door. Usually they get beat up and worn out.
It's been doing more sitting for the last 40 years than operating.
Every parts search, I'm always looking for something fairly specific. And this truck doesn't have a lot to offer. It's fairly bare bones, but it's got just what we need. Yeah, we got a lot of rust in our truck up in here and some of the inner panels. This thing, I don't even think it ever got rained on, huh?
No rust out in the desert. I'm glad I'm a desert rat.
If you're not that attached to it, we could do a little horse trading and...
It's gonna have a new lease on life.
At least parts of it will. The one thing about dumpster diving is it's not as easy as picking something off the shelf. It looks like this rig is missing a critical element. It's got no rear axle. Well, I got my trailer.
Maybe we could lift it up and just drive the trailer, right under it.
It's always a new page opening, a new story unfolding. Things get kind of crazy in the Wild West. You're gonna have to pull them tires. Got this thing loaded up, heading back down the hill to Mr. Bill's. All right, twin trucks. Love these mirrors. The roof skin is pristine. That's the big deal on this. I didn't realize this is a long bed. That's a short bed. Look at that, I could almost grab this one. Good thing we don't need the bed. Comparing these two side by side, it looks like this one has all the parts for the old cut and paste trick. I really do understand Bill's wish to keep this in like survivor mode. So I'm gonna try to do as minimal cutting into the body as possible. Maybe we'll be able to swap a little parts. Make one better truck out of two. Let's see what happens. I wanna get right into it. Cut into old orange, roll the dice, see what the future holds for us. Fortunately, there's enough trust floating around that allows me to proceed as I desire. Yeah, the first step is just like an exploratory cut. I'm gonna try to just make it look like nothing happened. I just wanna see how bad the rust is inside. It's like sands through the hourglass. No cancer in here, it's just surface rust. So I'm assuming what happened was the moisture just got inside, started rotting it from the inside out, but none of the structures is rotten. That's the good news. What's the bad news? I don't know yet. Let's get a wire brush and see what's happening. I was really concerned about how the drip rail rotted away, but see, that inner part, there's no cancer there. With custom vehicles, that's a big point of contention, to use or not the drip rails. This one's gonna look stock, it's gotta have them. It looks like the orange truck's drip rail is out of commission, but fortunately the donor vehicle has everything perfectly intact. California dreaming right there. That doesn't happen on the East Coast. That's good to weld to, and this is much less rusty than I thought. See, Ian, regardless of what you say, even you get lucky sometimes. One of my thoughts was that if it's rotten in here, then it gives me every excuse to chop the top, right? Because, hey, you're gonna cut the pillar anyway. But I think Bill, in his conservative mindset, is going to appreciate this, just like nothing ever happened. Once you get into the 60s model years with the curved glass and it's got different body lines, I feel like they're a bit less in need of a chop top. The earlier ones, they kind of had the baseball cap look, right? Kind of a flat front-ish with a big, tall center. And the 60s kind of smoothed it all out. Well, this is one of those unique opportunities when you get to paint stuff that's inside the vehicle, because we got the cap off. So I have this rust converter. This product's called Pour 15. It claims to convert rust into something that won't rust anymore. That's been successful for me. But you can see all this business inside is in darn good shape. While that's drying, let's get started on the slice and dice on this parts truck. I think I'm gonna salvage this windshield first. See if Mr. Bill's got a cutting tool around here. Unlike Old Orange, this window's in great shape. Hoping to get a 1-2 combo out of this. A windshield, a roof skin, plus a side of fries coming right up. Yeah, this window's definitely been replaced sometime. Doesn't have the chrome like the other one. So it's the aftermarket rubber strip. Give it up, give it up. Yeah, once you get these rubber seals up to about 300 degrees Fahrenheit in the desert's done, they start to stick pretty good. There it is. I know what you're thinking. Wow, Ian, you didn't break the glass. Well, I can be delicate too, you know. So on this one, I'm just gonna take the entire roof cap right off and then start to hog out from the inside, the exact reverse of what I did on the other truck. I think I just found an excuse to make that roadster pickup truck I've always wanted. That back window doesn't look like it's the same flow. Old habits die hard. What can I say? One farm fresh roof skin. Let's get that truck out of here. Let's take out this ancient artifact. Yeah, look at that, rust free. That is the desert, ladies and gentlemen. I want to leave the drip rail, but remove the structure. So I think I'm gonna take the disc and put it in this way now. Now that the skin's on the table, I can trim away everything I need using my patented surgical precision. So now you have all the structure of the truck intact with this front windshield surround preserved on the other vehicle. As long as those folks at Ford used the same tools to make these two roofs, we're gonna find out. I did all the prepping I could in 2 stations. It's time to put it together and see if it fits. Well, hot dog, if that don't fit like a Ford roof skin should. The two-tone is pretty cool. I wasn't expecting that, but it brings out the bumper. The white and white. Looks like a creamsicle. There's just so much to be said for the factory stamped sheet metal. It fits identical, it fits perfect. And the patina, the color of the paint, actually works great as well. See how this roof has a little clip on it? And then there's still one remaining on the truck. So that's your front alignment right there. Both of these vehicles were prepped out more conservative than the final fit up. So now that the pieces are kind of stacked, just the last bit of trim and nip to make it happen. The process at this point is welding it together and just trying not to burn too much paint off. It's gonna get hot on top for sure, but you know, you're only gonna see the seams around the backside. The front welding is buried in the rain gutter with the sealer that'll go in there. Feeling good about this swap. You know, I still got a few tricks up my sleeve to make Old Orange come full circle. Got the roof skin buttoned up right on time. Here comes Mr. Bill on his trusty green steed.
Master Roussel, how is my orangey red truck?
It's a little more like your white hat at the moment. Check out the new cap on this sucker.
Oh my gosh, you put a whole new roof on it.
Correct. And look at the drip rails. I changed those too.
Perfect. Yeah.
I didn't think you wanted to repaint the whole truck, right?
No.
Just give it a
No,
detail, yeah. Do a little touch up around where they welded, and
Yep.
it looks like it was always that way.
That is terrific. White top, I never even thought of that. You made a real truck out of this. That is just great.
It's good to see Bill excited on the progress. This kind of change is right in line with what he likes. I did major surgery, but it looks like not much went on.
When I saw the donor truck parked in my driveway, I thought, wonder what Ian's got in mind.
Plots thickening. So the good news about that truck is it's got a lot of pieces. I noticed your parking brake was broken. It's got all the interior mechanisms for the doors. It's got a brand new windshield in it. So you got a few good things out of that.
Oh, that's awesome. We'll pick it apart like a chicken.
One thing that was bugging me is the fact that there's no rear bumper, It's like, well, it's got a front, but there's no rear. If it had a trailer hitch or something, it would add up, but it's just blank sheet metal. But I was thinking something a little more classy, a little more style to it, I'm rooting through my own part stash, and I think I might just have one thing to solve this dilemma. It's a pretty generic looking shape, but it's got that interesting rise.
It still has the same arch as that. It's just enough to be a bumper.
I'm not sure what this came off of. I almost feel like it was on a car sitting like that.
Yep. So what are you gonna, just bolt it on and then look at it from this side?
You think I got a plan? Come on.
Have at it.
I really do like the back of the sheet metal on this truck. You put the bumper in at the height of the lower portion of the quarter panel and it just flows right out. With a utility vehicle like a truck, a pickup truck, the bumpers are literally just that. They're for bumping into things, not much style put into it. So trying to make this look a little bit better, the body lines of the truck have so much to offer, I want to minimize the bumper impact. I'll use this line in the truck as a reference and set that side into position and see how far away this line got from that line. And that's how much we'll narrow it. You can see how high-tech this is. I mean, no expense spared in the rigging and jigging in this operation. So we got these brackets in here, and I don't want to mess with that because that's our welding on potential. We're going to narrow it in this vacant area through here. Mini bumper. Got this really high-tech straight edge out of Bill's toolbox. Fortunately, this bumper is the same dimension all the way through, but it's important to get it straight when you're aligning it for welding. Such a clean-looking design to bunch it up with welds or any other modifications would take away from it, so it's got to be a seamless mod. This is pretty cool. These bumpers mounted flat up on the panel, and they're gonna do the same on this truck. Can't argue with that. Oh. Now it's like, oh yeah, look at the truck body, and then the bumper, just a little accessory. Simple, hang that license plate just down a little bit. I think that's the most that this bumper has to offer, is that it kind of smooths the line between those cheeky quarter panels under the taillights and just a bland, flat cross panel on each side of the license plate. It shows you the old nip and tuck. Sometimes it's the answer. Paint that white, call her done. This thing is definitely making progress. It just leads to think, what's next? I'm gonna think about that for a minute. We're out here in Pomona, Fairplex at the first annual Grand National Truck Show. Anything goes, kind of like an open invite. As long as it's a truck, come on down. When my friend first told me about this show, he's like, you gotta be there, man. It's the first time all truck invitational. I was like, truck, yeah, let's go. But the big question is the El Camino a car or a truck? It's still yet undecided. I say this all the time, we are so spoiled in Southern California. I mean, this show starts at the gate, in the parking lot, walking in, all the way through. This thing is unique. I love this bed cover. Who knows what year that's from, 40s, probably. It's steel, super cool. Yeah, the whole thing with coming out here is just to see like what's going on. If I could bring something to the table that would get Bill excited, that's what I'm all about. This guy's one of my favorite fabricators going, Slim. He built some crazy stuff. And this van is like a wheelie popping machine, as evidenced by the giant engine in the back. The Highway Patrol loves to see this stuff on the street, so I'm sure that's why he did it, just to support the local law enforcement. Vans, trucks, you name it. Look at this yellow beast. Look at that face. Wow. 1950. There's something to be said for a vehicle that's as tall or taller than me when it's laid right on the ground. This thing. There's something about the cab overs, you know? It's the ugly duckling turning into a swan scenario, truly. These things are just big utility things, kind of ugly, kind of weird, but lowered down and customized, they are something.
Is this your truck?
I wish.
Oh.
I love it. Obviously, this thing's full custom, but the body started off as a 40 Ford cab over. Everything's modified. Super nice. I love how they pulled the rear axle so far back.
I know you get this all the time, but I just want to shake your hand.
Oh man, good to see you. This is yours? Yeah. Super nice. Super nice.
You're a legend.
Thanks, man. Love the rims too. Look at that. That's a big one. Take your big surfboards to the beach on that one. Trucks like this just really do prove that the survivors, you know, there's a strong love for trucks in general, but when you see one that's pretty much intact and original, it's just like, that's worth showing. Never been painted, never been wrecked. It can't be stressed enough, there's something about the real deal, and that's what a survivor represents. Look at this 1980s fantasy machine. Look at how many shocks this has. I can't even count that high. It's got shock absorbers for the shock absorbers. Hot pink boots. Come on. This is the heartbeat of America right here. Look, it's got a cell phone and a television. This is modern. And this truck has it all. Suspension's crazy modified. It's body dropped. Can't really get much lower than that. I probably couldn't even fit in there. At a show with this wide of a range, there's no way to pick a favorite. I mean, it changes minute by minute, actually. Everybody's got their own vibe, right? So it's like, well, who would take a really cool Blazer-style vehicle like that and put so much effort and love? And meanwhile, somebody else is like, I want my truck as low as possible. I'm gonna mold the bed so it's barely even a truck anymore. I mean, huge amount of work to make this thing. Huge C-notch in the back. Bunch of old barnwood. It's rad. This thing's serious business. It's barely even a truck anymore. This thing's a race car. This is cool. This reminds me a lot of the truck I did for Bill, where it's just like, truck this early never existed as a sliding ramp truck, you know? It's just like, wait, something's wrong. To me, it's all artwork. It's 100% a feeling. Wow, look at this. I love it. It's just like, I like that. It says 1925 Ford Model T. Zipped T. Super, super neat. Just the proportions are total cartoon. It's great. So that's just the parking lot outside. The actual show is in here. The theme here is sort of like the Amber Award, the America's Most Beautiful Roadster. This is the world's most beautiful truck. So all the trucks in this area, they're up for the big award, and you could see, I mean, it's no holds barred. Seemingly no expense spared. These guys, or gals, or whoever, have got some serious dedication. This is my gig, right? This is my living. I know what it takes to bring vehicles to this level of finish. And it's not one, there's hundreds, possibly thousands, all lined up, all primo. It makes me wonder why I'm sitting here talking instead of some of these other cats. Oh yeah, now we're talking. Look at the color on this. Wow, Diamond T. Man, this thing's a huge amount of work. Just crazy cool. This is pretty close to the truck Bill has. This is the unibody, but very similar. You see the shape of the roof and a lot of the body lines are similar, but this one is full on. I mean, just like these trucks, right? You got all different shapes, sizes, ages, and fans are the same. Especially being close to home at a car show like this, and there's so many people, and they're just like, yeah, dude, love the show, keep on trucking. See what I did there? Truck yeah. Well, you know I'm a bit biased, but I mean, it is a truck, right? That's why it's here. It's got all the goodies. I love this. I mean, I love the Peterbilts, I love the Kenworths, the flat base ones, anything like this. Just look at this thing. It's like a freaking building standing in front of you. You just tell them Large Marge sent you. My favorite thing is to walk around looking for that one thing I haven't seen before. And I see this curved glass, you know, quarter window pickup truck, and they pop out. They're ventilated. I don't know much about accessories, but that one's new to me. Wait a second, is this thing even a truck? I think they're bending the rules a little bit here. It was a truck. I mean, 1923, this was a truck. Oh, look at this thing. I don't even know what to say. It is a Suburban, 1955. When they're stock, it's something, but when they're stock and lowered, forget about it. Look at this thing, man. I mean, king of the boulevard. Super cool. This rig is pretty stealthy. In talking with the fellow that put it together, it's got so many things done to it. The hood has been nosed down a bit. He's got flush mount windows in the sides. He's got cameo taillights on it. It's a really subtly radical vehicle. All I can say is I think I just found my element. This little corner of the room is where it's at. Ah, look at this van. Hey Jeff, good to see you. Hope you watched the show. I mean, did you even grow up in the 70s if you don't know about Evel Knievel, who dared to jump the Snake River Canyon? This actually reminds me a lot of my Uncle Frenchie's van. I keep this with me every day. Look at that, seeing that as a 10-year-old boy with the pirate on the side. He had the cedar interior, he had a cannon in the door, he had the CB where you could talk out of the front grille. I saw Uncle Frenchie's van and I was knocked out. I was like, you guys are building this in the garage? All I could say is like, he was just a cool cat. You know, all my father, my uncles, they're all relatively, you know, workaday kind of guys, family guys. And Uncle Frenchie was like, I'm building a custom van. I was like, yes. Little did he know the monster he created, following in your footsteps, sir. If you gotta sum up trucks in general, this show is it. So it's got my brain spinning. It's just a vibe, you know, spend a day in Truckville. This gathering was next level. I can't imagine what's gonna happen next time. It's time to get back to the lab. Anybody home? Speaking of trucks, out of the blue, I get a call from my friend Tom. This project and I have a little bit of unfinished business.
Hey,
how's
Ian.
it going?
How you doing?
I know you said you made some progress, but wow.
It's a driver. It runs.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Cool.
It runs really good too.
This thing looks great. It's a 1942. It was a military truck, a long bed, just a big utility vehicle, and he got a little wild with it. He shortened the entire chassis, bobbed off the bed. I did a chop top, little hot rod 6-cylinder engine. He's like, no, it's not a hot rod. It's not a street truck. It's a toy. Think of it as a giant toy truck. All I could say was, yeah, you're preaching to the choir, sir. I gotta say, I do love the big puffy tires, but these are cool too. Like you're saying, it's like the model kit where it's dual purpose, right?
The truck is going to be this color right here. See the yellow in there?
Yeah, that's cool.
I'm actually thinking
That's a
about
bold
putting
choice.
fenders on it too, so that there's a little bit of color down here too.
Well, again, like you're saying, it's dual purpose, right? So if you're taking it to the dunes, you take all that business off, take the street trim off and put the buggy trim on, right?
Yeah.
I love the bed, man.
Had a friend of mine who was an excellent body man. He went ahead and cherried the bed out for me. And
Yeah, cool deal. When Tom called, he said, hey man, just a few little pieces to wrap up. And I thought, hey, perfect timing. I am knee deep in the truck business. All it's missing is a rear bumper. I see what you're saying.
my idea is like a Nerf bumper. You know what I'm talking about? It's rounded ends on it. And it's from the 50s, I think the late 50s, early 60s. And it was, I think, originally from a race car, the backside of a race car, because they didn't have starters in them. They used to push start them.
Well, I remember these were 1.5 rounds, so I just brought some 1.5 tube and some bends, and maybe we'll just come up with an idea.
Okay. You're the artist, man.
Let's not overstate things. I'd like to see this thing run. Are you gonna pull it in?
Sure.
Heck yeah. It's got the twice pipes. It is exactly like the toy that he was describing. I mean, he was talking about these magazines and showing me different model kits, and I'm like, yeah, dude, like that's exactly what it would look like in the 60s, no doubt. Hold on, never mind this truck. Look at this thing. This is the real deal.
That was given to me.
What?
It's a hot rod from the 30s.
Oh, wow.
During the war, they made a truck out of it for
Like
rations.
so many other ones, right?
Yeah, for war rations, yeah.
In World War II, there were gasoline rations, and as I understood, you could get more if you drove a truck. The car's been lowered a bit. It's been chopped pretty significantly, and just a really nice touch with the windshield and convertible top. And it's got that weird back end. I mean, it is technically a truck.
I think it's been chopped at least 4 inches.
At least, look how low that is. I mean, this gas tank is obviously not original. That's
Yeah, first thing I always do if I get a car is I get it running and driving.
Yeah. Crazy when an antique like this just runs.
It's cool. This thing here, we're okay with. That's the one we need to work on.
Yeah, I agree. I brought some tubes. Let me show you the bends I got. This, right? That's just about where you want to be. It really fills out the back of the truck. Right, so this would come in and turn down below the license plate, and then the bottom part would reverse like that.
Yeah, just put a little spacer in there, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. That's a great idea, Ian, right there.
After laying out a few ideas, it seems like we got a good jumping off point with these large bends. That would look pretty cool, no?
No, I like it. No, I like it, yeah.
You heard the boss. Commence the building, Captain. That's the first part of it. It's gonna need 2 vertical bars where the chassis grabs this bumper, so if we do that, that'll keep it locked. Not only will the vertical bars support the bumper hoop, they will act as the mount to the chassis. And to my eye, the spacing looks like it can be improved on. So our chassis is as wide as this, right?
Yeah.
I feel like if we have our uprights this close to the end, it's gonna look funny, but the closer we can bring them into center, it'll look more proportional with our little detail in here, you know?
Yeah.
You know, we could favor it out to here. How do you feel about that?
I'll be honest with you. I have no
Are you
idea.
all right?
You're losing me, Ian. Usually you don't lose me, but you lost me.
This happens every time, man. See, my mind thinks in obtuse dimensions. My workflow style is purely alone. So I get a good idea in the heat of the moment, I execute it. I guess the flip side of that is not really being able to describe myself that well. No, dude, we're just gonna do this, that, and the other thing. It's gonna be fine, trust me.
This bumper's coming out cool. I'm liking it.
It's more art than it is function, right?
That's what I said, you're an artist, man. Oh yeah, look at that.
It's not such a big high boy now.
Yeah.
It drops it down a little bit.
I like it. I like that, yeah.
Good answer. The other answer might not.
I almost don't want to open it up now. What the heck? Let's hang the plate in there and see what happens.
It might be pretty slick if the plate just floated, like it didn't even attach to the bumper, you know? It was off the chassis just sitting there with a cool frame around it.
Man, now you're confusing me, Ian. What the heck?
Joe Schmo's Raceway, see you on Saturday. And that's kind of why I wanted to start this, because it's like, man, that has such a uniform, you know, feel to it. Would this have like a lot of busy metalwork on it because it's such a simple truck? I don't know.
Yeah.
This is all part of the creative debacle. I mean, once you change one thing, you sometimes got to change everything. Just like with the back, we made some progress, but in the front, like anything's possible, man. Style-wise, think about it. I mean, we could do another mini tube bumper like that for the front. Could be V'd out, could be a single tube. We could do 15 tubes. Anything can happen.
My mind's all over the place now because of that. It is.
Honest Ian's Bumper Building Service, here to consult and confuse on the daily. I gave Tom a bit of time just to give the old stare down and see how he's feeling about this bumper. If you want to keep this as we built it, then it's as simple as just attaching it to some mounts.
I like it just like it is.
I still think it looks like some kind of workout equipment or something.
It looks just like something Ed Roth would have built back in the 60s.
straightforward enough. We could just make some nice brackets, you know, make it look discreet, like we were talking about maybe that floating license plate in the center.
I'm gonna wait till you've got that completely mounted before I even start thinking about the license plate. If it's centered down there, it may not be centered from here.
Now you're talking my language, like the great sculptors of days gone by. When the figure is on top of the building, the head is actually out of proportion. It's bigger.
Oh, yeah,
because you're looking at it like that.
Yeah.
It's all so delicate. I mean, angles, distance, size. How could one possibly take it all in?
Well, actually, I'm just gonna have my wife come out and tell me, that looks good. Rank, do it.
Sometimes that works too.
Yeah.
Yeah, grab those 2 pieces of wood and let's clamp this thing back on. The old 2 fingers on the knuckle. There it is.
Yeah, that looks it right there.
So in the end, that's what it adds up to. 2 simple, discrete brackets, welded inside and out.
No, I love that thing. It looks like something out of one of my old 60 hot rod magazines.
Agreed.
The surprise for me was the way you mounted it. I did not see that coming, and I like that. Way cleaner. You don't have all this busyness down here now.
Yeah, he likes it. By golly, he likes it.
Look at that bumper. You like the way the taillights are positioned?
Yeah, I mean, I love the traditional lights, but you know, what if there was like a round thing? That to me says like 60s.
Yeah. I kind of like that idea.
Do you have an old trailer light or anything laying around?
Oh, heck yeah. Do I got an old taillight hanging around? Yeah, we got.
Oh yeah, that's like the time period too, man.
Yeah.
Right in there, just about centered.
Well, I may get custom on you, huh?
That's what I'm saying. If it was my truck, I'd have these taillights. In the meantime, I'm gonna get into this front bumper design and Tom's gonna hang the license plate. Well, since I have free reign, I could get obnoxious with it. Big Cadillac bumper with the Dagmars. I mean, anything's possible. Or, I was thinking like the 32 Roadster traditional kind of look. You know, it's got that grille with the little peak in the front, so why overcomplicate things, right? Maybe just a little bar that comes to a V point that matches the angle of that grille. Just give it a little aggressive stance. I think in a lot of circumstances, the end result is just being simple. Sometimes less, a lot of times less is more. It's a little trick, that way it's just a hidden nut. Yeah, so it's just welded to a washer, set it in the tube like such. If all my calibrations are correct, this thing might just bolt on. Yeah, man, how about that?
I like it. Looks good.
Nice and clean, right?
Yeah, that's usually the best way.
Yeah, see, once you got that grill on, right? Boom, then you got that whole V shape really represented. Nothing like seeing a project in motion, especially at a distance. You know, you really get to take it all in. Heck yeah.
Oh, look at that bumper from here, man. It's cool.
It's really fun, you know, building a car, but it's driving them is when you really feel the flavor come out. And this one's got a ton of personality. This thing corners like a forklift. Look at the turns it does. Super fun.
I'm thinking of doing those taillights like you said.
Yeah, man, one piece at a time. You're closer than you were yesterday.
Oh yeah, I'm getting there.
Another satisfied customer. Now it's back to Mr. Bill's to see what's going on with Old Orange. Back out here at Bill's Ranch, and he says the truck is ready to rock.
Well, there's your pickup. Had my guys do a little work on it.
Yeah.
Doesn't it look great?
I love how they treated the paint.
Yeah, my full guy does a good job.
Yeah, no kidding. Look at that roof. It's like it was never even changed.
Yep, the roof is perfect.
Cool job. It was really interesting to me how they kind of faux finished the front and rear bumpers to match the roof cap. Pretty slick stuff. Because when you open the door, it's like the dashboard and the top, they make a statement together.
Yep.
That's really what I was hoping for. There's something about the white paint, when I put that new skin on, it's just like, wow, it kind of brightens the whole truck up. It's interesting. By leaving that factory seam between the window and the roof cap and putting the weld in that nondescript area, slapping new drip rails on both sides, it worked out pretty clean.
Oh, it's great. Drip rails were non-existent.
Yeah.
You know, it makes these projects so much better if you have a parts or a donor. I mean, look at everything you got off that donor truck.
The big bonus here was the donor truck. Not only did it have the roof sheet metal and a couple other accessories, it had this pristine windshield in it as well. One other thing about the donor truck was it had these cool side view mirrors, and they just scream, you know, California custom truck scene from back in the day. Standing in the back of the truck looking forward, I would see these bumpers hanging out past the fenders, and I thought, well, we're really inside on the rear. We got to tuck that front in as well. This stamped line takes a hard turn right here, right? That looks cool, but then this thing is just kind of flying way out. What if we could get that bumper to match that as closely as possible? This is gonna turn something like that. I think one of the goals with customizing is to make the vehicle more seamless, make it look like a lot less has been added on. This bumper does have a more molded to the body shape now than being accessorized. The key mandate with this from the start has been like old school, survivor, kind of stock, but different.
I love the back bumper instead of the big clunker commercial diamond plate thing that was on there.
The chrome was the only thing bothering me about this back bumper, so I love what they did. It just looks like it was always there. I don't even know where that came from. I can't wait for the person that tells you.
Yeah.
I love the wheels and tires too. It looks like it should be that way.
Yeah. It's just some subtle things you did, and it's a survivor. It's great. I love everything about it. I wouldn't change a thing. Sometimes it's better just to leave it alone. Hard for you to do.
I didn't say that, but it worked this time.
I want you to take it for a ride. It runs good.
I want to know what 1962 feels like.
There you go. Purrs like a kitten.
Sure does. This thing sounds good. The cool thing about this truck is it's got a V8 in it from the factory. This truck's got a lot of torque. Man, manual steering, manual brakes, roll-up windows. That's what's happening. It's interesting, you step into this thing and it's like a time machine. All of a sudden, Bill's telling me war stories from back in the day. He's having flashbacks. I tell you, 1962 was a mighty fine year.
Yes, sir.
I've driven a lot of different vehicles, but there's something about the pickup trucks in the 60s, they really hit a different stride. They went from this almost tractor-style driving, like very archaic, to this thing, even with a solid axle, it's got smoothness and it's got power. I'm not sure what it is specifically about trucks, but it's kind of like the family dog, right? Where it's just like, it's always there, it's always reliable. It's just a unique thing. I gotta say, it's authentic, man.
Yeah, I think it's a keeper, Ian.
Bill is one happy customer, I gotta say. You can tell in the tone of his voice when he's satisfied and he's like, yeah, this is just what I needed. Everything about him has always sort of been the same way. He's like, not as wild as you, man. It's like, I like some cool stuff, I like custom stuff, but let's not get too far. It's interesting how things stack up. There was a lot of trucks going on in the past month or so, so I don't know, maybe I'm getting the itch. Might be time for one for myself.